Is it happening? Happy New Year! Your old pal Stevie Coyle here at Mighty Fine Guitars doing the Friday Noontime webcast. Close to noon, please note. It's a new year and full of resolutions. Speaking of New Year's resolutions, first of all, let's make sure things are happening here. Speaking of New Year's resolutions, remember back in 1989 when you said, "This is the year I take guitar lessons." I got a question for you. Is this the year you're going to take guitar lessons? They happen online. I'm doing two different versions of online lessons. Thank you for asking. One is via a company called Peghead Nation, which is pretty much the editorial staff, the previous editorial staff of Acoustic Guitar Magazine that went out on their own, did their own thing, and have an outfit called pegheadnation.com. Like pegheadnation.com, and we're all pegheads. They offer lessons, and I do a whole fingerstyle guitar lesson course there. 20-odd, 24, 25 different lessons. Some about theory, some about actually playing songs with lots of cool video and good audio. There's that for those of you that would like to take lessons at your absolute convenience, whenever, at midnight in your jammies. You can do that. For those who would rather do in-person lessons, more personalized lessons, I offer those as well, both in the shop here, masked up as usual, at least for the nonce, at least for a while. I guess South Africa is giving us hope. Don't know what that story is all about, but I got to look it up. I give lessons either in the shop here or online via FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, whatever you got. And that all works very well. It all works really well. One way or the other, at the end of each lesson, I like to do for you a quick little 3, 4, 5-minute video of me, going over everything we went over in the course of the lesson. So that instead of videoing the whole lesson, I almost said tape, instead of videoing the whole lesson, which is terribly inefficient, and who looks at those? I wouldn't. You have instead a really condensed little 3, 4, 5-minute video of all the stuff we went over in that lesson. So not only are you taking guitar lessons like you promised in 1989, promised yourself, you didn't promise me, promised yourself in 1989, you're also compiling, you're also amassing a video library of videos that you can consult at any time at all, including midnight in your jammies. So, just triple checking to make sure I'm actually online here. Looks like it. Sure thing. Kind of cut off the top of my head, but not much to see up there anyway. And most of the screen today is going to need to be reserved for this enormous guitar I have in the shop. That it's not exactly a mystery to me why it has not been sold, because it's a very expensive guitar. It's $15,000. But it is an astonishing guitar, and one of many truly astonishing guitars that are in the shop right now. As many of you know, I just sit here, I do my thing, I work on the website, I answer email, I talk on the telephone, I do my thing, I gab with folks as they come in. We play some music occasionally. But then somebody walks in the door with a guitar case and says, "You know what? I'm not playing this, let's sell it." And I've got 65, 70-odd guitars that are each one more fabulous than the others. And today's guitar is one of the truly fabulousest ones. And I'll tell you about that in just a second here. Hello, all 13 of you, whoever you are. Who are the lucky 13? Enter and sign in, please. Do feel free to let us know you're here. Mike Knepper is there. How did I know? Hi, Mike Knepper. Mike Propsom is there. Very good. The mics are in. David Foster and David Foster. Oh, same haircut. This isn't a haircut. These are nerve endings. Thank you, Phyllis Diller. It's been raining here, and my hair just goes sproing. You can even hear it in the rain. It's a mess. So, yes, thank you for whatever is happening on the top of my head there. David Evans Sock, there you go. Your optometrist of choice. And Jill McAnally, nice to see you. Very good. Eric Apgar, Jim Passard. Very good. Great to see all you folks. The guitar I want to show you today, and I'm trying these days to limit these to one guitar a piece and to keep things under 15 minutes. I tend to go on and on and on. I should attend on and on and on. I was raised Irish. In fact, I am Irish, so that's why. And that's comes part and parcel, comes free with every Irish birth is the gift of gab, or curse of gab, depending on which side of the gab you're on. Here it is. It's big, huh? This is a Klein 45.7 The builder is a fella, now the name on it is Klein Kaufman these days. For the longest time, these guitars were called simply Klein guitars because they were designed by Steve Klein. The fella who actually built almost all of them except the first 20 or so is a wonderful gent named Steve Kauffman. And nowadays they call the guitars Klein Kaufman because they decided to work that up. Kaufman is an astonishing builder, really and truly astonishing. He used to live a mile from here. And I remember, maybe you've heard me tell the story before, but here it comes again, kids. His wife came in one day and peered over the desk at me and said, would you hang Steve Kauffman guitars in the shop? I said, you bet I would. He said, well, good, because my husband, Steve Kauffman, should be building guitars instead of making spiral staircases for rich people. I thought, you bet he should, doggone it. So she went away, Susan, and she went away, and he came back a few days later holding a guitar not unlike this in his hands. He hadn't got a case for it yet, but he wanted to feature the guitar in the shop. So he walked it over in traffic, $15,000 guitar, just kind of walking along, do-de-do, and he brought it in, and it sold because it was astonishing. They're all astonishing in different ways. This one, Engelmann top, very old stash. Steve Kauffman has had this in his stash for a long time, so this is old, seasoned, beautiful, primo Engelmann, and big slabs of it, as you can see, because this guitar is very, very large. On the back, figured sycamore that has also been in Steve's stash for the longest time. The neck is figured sycamore out of the same log. How about that? So this particular guitar is called Blanca. Some of the guitars acquire names, and this one clearly is Blanca. I remember he came in one day, a couple of Steve Kauffman stories. A fella had commissioned a guitar from Steve, and the delivery day was coming up, and I'm always a little bit nervous when there are rendezvous here at the shop when a guitar is going to be delivered, because I think, well, what if the person doesn't like the guitar they commissioned? What if they're not wild about it? And I mentioned this to Steve. I said, do you ever get nervous? He says, no. I know it's a fabulous guitar, and he's going to love it. It was a fabulous guitar, and the guy loved it. So sure enough, some guitar builders are that sure of their output that they can make those claims, and they'll be fine. Kaufman Klein guitars tend to be very large. One of them just left the shop. One of the smaller models, the Muriel Anderson model, kind of a cutaway, smaller, thinner body. This guitar is very large. Bolt-on neck, as you can see. Can you see? Bolt-on neck. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour of the guitar. Look at the steep break angle across the nut here. And in fact, it's not even a nut. It's really a string guide. I guess you'd call it a nut. But where the string terminates isn't at the nut per se, but at a 0 fret. And I think we talked about 0 frets last week on the Harvey Leach guitar. That 0 fret used to be an instant sign that, inexpensive German guitar from the 40s or 50s. Really stylish, beautiful guitars that did not sound so very great, but they looked fantastic. In fact, there's a very famous picture of Elvis playing one, sitting in his dress fatigues, sitting on his cot, getting ready to go off and do something military, and playing one of those guitars. But the 0 fret for people of a certain age sort of used to signify, I should say, and I will say, used to signify inexpensive German guitar. So, anyway, let's give a listen to this bad boy. I gotta be careful with it. It's kind of big. Right out of the gate. Really different from Martin, really different from Gibson, but beautiful. Real bell tones. Lots of sustain. Folks that really want a sustainy, what they call the modern sound. Lots and lots of sustain, lots of ring, lots of combination, lots of reinforcement of overtones. Kleins tend to do that. As radical as this guitar looks on the outside, inside it's even more radical. There's lots of curved bracing, carbon fiber bracing. The top and back are connected in certain ways. The access to the inside of the guitar, in case you want to do anything with a pickup or anything, is through a little magnetic trap door down here. How about that? Kaufman thinks of everything. Kaufman and Klein, they're clever lads. What a sound. Big, round, ringy, super sustaining. And the overtones are not like what you would find on a Martin that does something in the low mid-range. This kind of does something in the high mid-range, I'd say. The way the notes combine, you know, it's easy and fun, of course, and the first thing we all listen to is how the notes sound individually on the guitar. But then listening to how they sound in parallel with another note or two or three is where things get real interesting in Klein guitars. Really beautiful, intense articulation, and really great intonation, even up the neck. Whoa, you got some tuba in the bass there, but check it out just because I want to keep this video under 15 minutes if I can. Drop tunings is where this guitar really comes alive. Oh, I'm not even sure I'm not even sure the mic can pick that up. The way that bass blooms there. This is one of those guitars where you're playing along and you say, I wonder if it'll do this. It does that. It's like riding a thoroughbred, you know, that reads you, or so I've been told, that knows where you want to go before you know where you want to go. And this one is one of those. Right through there I thought, I wonder if it'll sound really clear and clean if I do this, if I articulate it this way. And it did that. It's a really responsive guitar. $15,000 for you, $1499.95. Holy smokes. Let me see if there are any comments or questions. We can all toddle along, continue with our lunches. Once again, folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm Stevie Coyle. This shop is called Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. California East Bay, 20 miles due east and only slightly north of San Francisco. Out kind of behind the Berkeley Hills there. Oh, thank you, whoever said love the Roo there. I just saw the note. Hey, Larry Cohey. Great. Good stuff. Very articulate. True fact, Michael Propson. It's true. Sean Patrick, Joseph O'Brien, thanks for watching. Dennis Durham. I thought there was... It is Durham. There we go. Good for me, huh? Sorry. Hey, Janelle. Hey, Eric. Tom Lamson. Yes, Tom, it's a big guitar. It's a very big guitar. And not for everybody. Fortunately, though, even though the lower bout is really, really wide, the upper bout is only moderately really wide. So even though I look like Kilroy sitting behind here, you know. A lot of folks play these classical style, which I cannot, certainly not in this chair. Play it on the left knee, that style, so that the bulk of the guitar is sitting lower and farther that way, and you can get much of this down between your knees. You should pardon the expression. There's breath in those low notes too. Oh. And especially, like I say, when you get into an open tuning and you've got like in a G tuning or a D tuning or a dadgad tuning, you'd have 3 Ds going. They all just pick each other up and run with each other. All of those. In this tuning, I've got 2 A's. And they kind of do the same thing. My goodness. Really, really special guitar. Let me check and see if there are any questions. Like I said before already once, I'll try not to go for 3. We'll toddle along. Happy New Year, everybody. Do feel free to stop into the shop here. Mighty Fine Guitars is located in Lafayette, California. I'm open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for lessons only, open for retail on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. 2 ways to take lessons, both at pegheadnation.com and either live in the shop or online. Hit me up. Let's do some lessons. I love it. And beginners, I love working with beginners. I get a huge vicarious kick out of working with guitarists anyway. But beginners make big jumps all of a sudden, and I like being around. Selfishly, I like being around when you get those big jumps. You were started off the lesson at this level, and then you became this kind of guitarist. I love being around for those moments. So, beginner, no problem. Give me a shout. We'll work something out. You can find me here on Facebook, of course. A great way to communicate. Also at mightyfineguitars.com. Stevie at Mighty Fine Guitars will get you here. If I can be of service, don't hesitate. Beginners, intermediates, some kind of advanced folks, fingerstyle stuff, alternate tunings, standard tuning, missionary tuning as they call it. Some people unkindly refer to it. There we go. I think we're all set. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. Your old pal Stevie Coyle signing off. Happy New Year from Mighty Fine Guitars, Lafayette, California. Down the road. Let's finish up with a picture of my crutch. Here we go.